lovely people out there in podcast land. It is once again Velvet Al, that is me, watches movies, that is the act I'm doing, so you don't have to, and that's the reason I am doing the act of watching the movies. Which generally these podcasts are almost as long as the movie, so I'm not really saving you any time, but I'm saving you sort of heartache of watching these movies. Though this week's movie is probably one you're going to want to watch yourself. I haven't watched it yet, so I'm not basing this on the quality of the film, but it is called Asian Schoolgirls. And no, it's not the one you're thinking of. Now, I'm watching this on Tubi, not on Pornhub. And this is going to be fantastic later when I try to find a photo for the thumbnail. Because I'm going to have to, search Asian Schoolgirls. And even if I put Asian Schoolgirls movie, this particular movie will probably be the 1000th hit. Yeah, Asian Schoolgirls. I don't care what this movie's about. It's about Asian schoolgirls, you know? How often can you say you're watching a movie called Asian Schoolgirls and it's not a porn film? Not often. Not often. I don't know. Should I then later watch an Asian Schoolgirls video on Pornhub to compare and contrast the plots? I just may. Why am I rambling on when I could be watching Asian Schoolgirls right now? This episode is going to be so much fun just for how often I get to say Asian Schoolgirls. That's the reason I'm doing this movie. This movie's probably going to suck. Because there's not going to be any sucking going on. Yeah, why don't I just go and watch Asian Schoolgirls on Pornhub? No, I am watching this movie called Asian Schoolgirls. Okay, I will give you the plot description. Does it really matter? A group of girls seek murderous revenge on Los Angeles crime gang after they are kidnapped and abused, causing their friend to commit suicide. And now I'm depressed. What kind of fucking... this is what, I Spit on Your Grave, but Asian Schoolgirls edition? Which, okay, if you want to do that type of story, but don't call it Asian Schoolgirls! You call a movie Asian Schoolgirls, people are gonna have expectations. Expectations of lots of nudity, and if the nudity is while they're getting abused, I'm not down with that. Whatever, I get to say I'm watching Asian Schoolgirls. And I press play. Oh, I just got to notice that there's going to be snow this weekend. Which is lovely, because yesterday it was like fucking 70 degrees. And last week, it snowed. A day after it was like 60 degrees. Fucking Buffalo weather. I tell you, it's just insane. You've probably heard the joke oh, if you don't like the weather in Buffalo, just wait 20 minutes. But it is true. Weather is fucking all over the place here. Anyhow, the movie is from the asylum, so that kind of brings my hopes up. Fantastic studio if you're doing a bad movie podcast. Just some fucking out there awful movies, but fantastically awful, so fingers crossed. Because after the bit I've seen, I don't think the asylum should be attempting this type of movie. So we start off, we see the Asian schoolgirls in school. Hence, right away, this is one of those movies that does deliver on the title. Along with Snakes on a Plane and MILFs vs. Zombies, we are getting what is advertised. And they're talking about we're doing school stuff. And one of them hacked into the school computers and changed her grade because she's Asian and smart. By the way, I feel like this episode is going to come off kind of racist in that I don't really know the difference between any of these Asian schoolgirls. But it's not because they're Asian. It's Because I just don't care. That's what tends to happen to me in these movies, is I don't really care about the characters enough to learn who's who. But it's going to come off sounding racist because they're Asian. And there's not really, like, any type of defining differences that I can separate them. Like, usually I could be like, blonde schoolgirl and redhead schoolgirl, and, you know, I could keep them separate. No, they have no defining features other than that they're all Asian. But anyhow, they decided, hey, we're going to go to the club. And we got fake IDs because, you know, we're underage being schoolgirls, but we want to go drinking. And so they go, and there's some guys, some hot guys, that are like, hey, you're Asian. We like ye. They don't actually say that, but I can read it in their eyes. And so they slip roofies into the drinks of the Asian schoolgirls, and you know where it goes. And I don't want to, like, describe it because it's like yucky. Oh, I'm not comfortable watching those scenes. I feel like I should be because I'm pretty tolerant, and I'm like, you know, I like grindhouse stuff and I like really fucked up stuff. But sexual assault just, it seems gratuitous in a bad way. Like, I like gratuity when it comes to nudity and violence. A sexual assault is just, I guess it's just my personal line. So, yeah, they kidnap the girls, and there's some old dude. Well, not super old. He's, like, in his 40s. Who seems to be the mastermind behind it, and he tells the other guys, like, go ahead and rape them. Even though they're kind of passed out and chained to a bed. And here's my issue with, like, the date rape drug. Why? Why would you want to fuck someone who's passed out? That is a lot of effort. If I'm gonna fuck someone, I want her to take some of the workload. Just do some movement. I don't get it. I don't get the appeal of fucking someone who is not moving. You're just basically necrophilia at that point, in my opinion. If I'm gonna fuck someone, I want them to be into it. You know what? They don't even have to be into it. Just not, like, completely grossed out and not wanting it. If they're indifferent, I can work with that. But even if they're indifferent, they'll at least do something. I've never understood the appeal of just roofing a girl. It's just my personal opinion. But yeah, so it happens. I will say the one guy wants to use a condom when he does it, which I guess is kind of considerate. Everyone else makes fun of him and laughs like, "Oh, you don't need it. She's definitely a virgin." Which, okay, yeah, let's say you don't know for sure, but let's say she is a virgin. He's second in line. Someone already fucked a girl before him. So technically she's not even technical, she is no longer a virgin, and you don't know what kind of disease the first guy had. So, while I strongly, strongly suggest never, ever sexually assault a woman, and I don't even strongly suggest it, I fucking flat out tell you, don't do it. But I can at least understand if you want to use a condom. That just sounds horrible. I'm not trying to make light or joke about sexual assault here. This film is. I just kind of found it interesting that he's trying to have a condom. But, yeah, enough with this. Let's move on. So the girls wake up the next morning, and they're just left by the road, and they're like, what happened to us? And one of them's like, why am I bleeding between my legs? And luckily, one of the girls who didn't completely finish her drink, so she wasn't fully roofied, which, I mean, kind of unfortunately for her, because then she's aware of what happened. But she tells him, like, we got kidnapped and we got raped. And it's like, one of the girls says, well, we got to go to the cops. But one of the other girls is say, I can't, because if my parents find out, they'll know I'm not a virgin, and, you know, they're fucking, like, old school, and they'll probably kill me, literally, for losing my innocence and my purity and all that good stuff. Which I gotta say, fuck her parents. I don't care what sort of, like, cultural standards you have. Even if you believe that a woman should remain chaste until marriage, she fucking got raped. It's not like she chose to have sex. But no, they're going to frame it like, well, she chose to go to the club, so obviously she wanted to have some sex. And just fuck her parents. But then the other girl, the one who is aware of what happened, she gives a much stronger case for not going to the police, and that's that the police are going to do jack shit about it. And that's the sad reality. I am feeling so super depressed with this episode so far. Aren't you depressed? You've come to me for comedy, and I have to go into, like, all these explanations of why I hate our culture when it comes to sexual assault, and how the police... And, I mean, it's kind of like there's only so much they can do, because, you know, they don't have, like, hard evidence to be able to, you know, nail these guys. But, you know, that's just kind of the way, like, our whole society is structured, that just kind of fucks people over when they're victims. And, oh yeah, the reason why she... Oh, well, we haven't gotten to the police yet. I'm just kind of skipping all over the place. Well, the reason she knows that the police can't do jack shit is because when she was a child, she got raped, and jack shit happened. No one believed her. Again, I hate society. So, but they decide, we're gonna go to the police, and wouldn't you know it, police can't do jack shit. So they don't have the evidence, and the place that they went to and got raped in, oh, well, that hotel claims that no one was in that room, no one rented that room. Bullshit. You know, we know how it is, you guys cover for each other. But again, you know, sucks, and I don't really want to side with the police completely, but I do understand why their hands are tied, and that they don't have evidence. They don't have the DNA evidence, because the one guy was smart enough to use a condom, I think. I don't know, it seemed like he didn't, but the cop brought it up, so they don't have evidence. The hotel claims no one was there, and because they were roofied, their memories aren't considered reliable. So, while I still say fuck the cops, I do get how they're limited on what they can do. But of course, since they're, you know, young schoolgirls, they have to call their parents, and the one girl's parents seems to be the only ones that show up, and they are fucking furious at her, because, you know, she went and got raped, and sometimes parents will blame, you know, their parents will fucking victim blame their children when they get raped. And I think that's fucked up. And that is true. Again, like, I know, you listen to my podcast for the funny, and I'm not bringing it today because... Why did I choose this movie? Just because it was called Asian Schoolgirls. But, relating my own story, when I had a seizure and ended up in the hospital, I was in the emergency room, and I could overhear this girl that was there, and she was on the phone crying to her father about how she had been raped. And I couldn't hear what the father said to her because she was, like, on the payphone. But she just kept saying, like, I know I was stupid, I know I was an idiot. Though not saying it angry like that, she was just fucking, like, crying. And it made me want to, like, go find her dad and kick his ass. Just, I'm not a violent person, but something like that is like, what the fuck? Your daughter got raped, and you're just gonna yell at her that she's an idiot for putting herself in that situation? No! The blame goes on the guys. The blame does not go on the women for, putting themselves in, like, a bad situation, or how they dressed, or what they were drinking. The blame goes 100% on the guys. And so, I don't have a daughter, but if I did, or even if my son, like, had been raped, my only two questions would be like, are you okay right now? And who the fuck did it, so I can go cut their balls off? So, it is true. And, this was a white girl, so I imagine in the Asian culture, which is much more strict, like, it would be even worse that, her parents are finding out their child got raped and are gonna blame her. Hopefully the rest of this film is, fun, right? What the fuck? This is from the asylum! Should be, like, just terrible and bad. I mean, it is bad dialogue and acting. Actually, not as bad as I would expect from an asylum film. This is basically an Asian version of I Spit on Your Grave so far. And instead of one girl, it's gonna be, like, well, three, because, the description tells me that one of them kills themselves, which I imagine is the girl with the strict parents. But hopefully, because while, of all the I Spit on Your Grave films, and there's the original and a remake, and the remake has, like, a bazillion sequels. And I don't know, they are very tough to sit through the first third, which at least this film kind of kept it to, like, 5 minutes of a sexual assault scene. And I Spit on Your Grave, like, it fucking lasts, like, half an hour. And it's just like, oh, I got the point. I don't need to see it anymore. But then, after you get past that, and the girl goes out for revenge, and fucking hacks up her rapist in all sorts of just brutal ways, then it's like, fuck yeah. And that's what I want. I like brutal murders of rapists. That makes for a good film. I just don't need to actually see the sexual assault. So at least they had the good taste to keep that scene short. Unlike the I Spit on Your Grave movies. It just, I get it. I don't need to see that much sexual assault. Just let me know it happened and get to the killing of the rapists. Because I think we can all agree brutal murders of rapists is fucking awesome. So the next day at school, some of the girls are just trying to pretend that, okay, nothing happened, we're gonna move on with life as normal. And Hannah, I picked up her name, the one that was, mostly awake and knew what was going on, but powerless to do anything about it. She says, we can't just move on and pretend nothing happened. And then Susie, the girl who has the super strict parents, she's like, you know what, guys, I'm just going to hang back a while. You guys go ahead without me. And so they do. And she decides, I'm going to jump off the roof of the building. Because, she's in a fucking strict household. So, of course, things are going to be fucked up. She brought dishonor upon her family, according to her family. They didn't say it, but I know it. And since this is the asylum, a little tasteless in the way they do this. Because when we see her get on the ledge, the camera, full on upskirt. Which again, I am all for upskirt pictures. It's wrong. I recognize that it is completely wrong to do it to someone without their knowledge. But someone who has knowledge and knows that the camera is being put up their skirt, fantastic. As long as consent, upskirt pics are great. So I'm all for upskirt shots, but not for someone who's about to kill themselves. Just... If I were a filmmaker, I probably would have just shot this scene a little differently. And she jumps, and we see her head go smack and bloody. What the hell, Asylum? This isn't the type of film I was expecting from you. I am just... So after the funeral, the other girls decide, you know what? We can't let these guys get away with it. We gotta go and get our revenge. Like, hallelujah! That's what I want. Sometimes all you need from a film is fucking killing rapists in brutal ways. Now, one of the girls, her name is Viv. I'm gonna try to get everyone's name, and in honor of Susie, I will try to keep everyone's name together. So Viv, who I think was the one that originally wanted to go to the cops and said, like, oh, the cops will help us. And now that she realizes, okay, that's complete bullshit, the cops aren't going to help us, she goes to this guy she knows, a friend of her brother's, a real shady guy, and she wants to buy some weapons. And he's kind of like, what do you need these weapons for? And like, the less you know, the better. So he's like, yeah, it's going to be $5,000. And she's like, and she talks him down to $4,000, even though it's kind of a moot point right now because she doesn't have $4,000 even. Her original offer was $1,000, which she probably didn't have that either. But the guy says, like, okay, you get me the $4,000, I will get you the weapons. And so Viv goes to the other girls. So we've got Viv and Hannah. At some point I'm going to learn the other girl's name. So Viv is telling them, like, all right, I'm going to get us some weapons. And they're like, oh, is this a good idea? Maybe we should try that cops suggestion again. Like, let's try calling the cops again. Like, no, that's not going to work. And the other girls are like, okay, let's just scare them. And then that way they won't rape anyone else. Sure. You know, the scare tactic, I don't think really works with rapists. You gotta cut their dick off. Or shoot it off. And this is why we watch these films, right? Like these rape revenge films, is just to see the rapists get their dicks, like, just completely mutilated. Because that is a fantastic feeling, seeing a rapist's dick get mutilated. But, so they're like, oh, okay, let's just scare them, but there's still the problem of where they're going to get $4,000. And Viv is like, well, you know, the good thing for us is those guys kept talking about hanging out at this one strip club. So if we go and become strippers there, we can raise the money, and we can learn more information about these guys and where to find them so that we can, quote-unquote, scare them. And the other girls are kind of like, I don't know about this plan. But, you know, sometimes it's kind of what you have to do. You have to go, like, undercover, become a stripper, so that you can find your rapist and cut his dick off. So the girls go to audition for the strip club, and, you know, they gotta do it in the VIP room. Because obviously you don't want to audition them right in front of the customers. You know, the manager, he can tell if someone has the potential to be a good stripper. And so they're gonna audition, but he says, the girls are all 18, right? And they kind of give each other a look that suggests, you know, they're not. Which, honestly, kind of didn't really register with me before. I never really gave thought to, like, yeah, they had the fake IDs to get into the bar because you got to be 21. But they're schoolgirls. They're in high school. So maybe they're not even 18. Which then just makes me feel really, like, skeezy. Because Viv does a striptease to audition. and she shows her tits, and while they are fantastic, because I am sure that the actress is over 18, her character might not be over 18, and that just draws that really weird gray area of, okay, we just sexualized and showed nudity of a character that's under 18. Like, oh, do I allow myself to get a boner over this? But Viv is a complete natural. She's just rocks it on the strip club. Because I have seen a lot of movies for this podcast that involves strippers, and the strippers are generally god-awful, but somehow are well-loved and make lots of money and tips, despite being god-awful. But Viv, she's the natural, she's got the moves, and the manager's like, "You've got me convinced, you're all hired. Just bring your IDs." So yeah, they gotta get the... If they keep bringing up the ID thing, like, yeah, these girls are not 18. But he's hiring all three based on Viv. I mean, yeah, Viv fucking rocks it as a stripper. But we don't know about the other two girls. They could fucking completely suck ass. And not in a good way. Like, they could just be terrible strippers. And you're gonna just... You know, just because they're friends with someone talented doesn't mean they have talent either. And I was going to give an example, but I can't think of an example right now. But, you know, Rob Schneider. He's friends with Adam Sandler. And whatever your opinion is on Adam Sandler's choice in the movies he makes and what kind of comedy he does, he is good at that kind of comedy. And fucking Happy Gilmore and The Wedding Singer were good movies. They were fucking funny. And Adam Sandler is good. He is funny. He has talent. Rob Schneider, who's like his friend and pops up in everything, fucking has no talent. So you see, like, if you take that, like, approach, like, okay, well, Adam Sandler's funny, so I'm gonna hire Rob Schneider as well, you end up with Rob Schneider. And it's like, oh, yeah, I regret this. So that's the potential danger of hiring two girls as strippers just because their friend is an amazing stripper. While the girls are at school, the police detective who's in charge of their case stops by and he's like, you know, I'm still working on it. I'm trying the best I can. And, you know, if you guys can remember anything, give me a call. Here's my card. And they're all like, yeah, fuck you. You're a cop, and you're not going to get shit done. Which is true, but I get the feeling that he really wants to bring justice. And unfortunately, like, yeah, this case, just, legal justice is not going to happen. Which is why you're taking the law into your own hands. And just, please slice off someone's dick. That's all I ask for. Is that too much to ask for in films? Is show me tits and someone's dick sliced off. Those are the two things. You know, I didn't realize before this movie that I want to see dicks get sliced off. It's now a thing in my... How about, like, there's the second Velvet Owl test. The first Velvet Owl test is tits in the first 15 minutes. The second Velvet Owl test is that at any point in the film, a dick gets cut off. But I feel like the detective just really does want to help. So now it's strip night. It's fetish night at the strip club. And what better fetish than Asian schoolgirls? Because, yeah, we gotta fetishize Asians. I mean, the schoolgirl part, like, okay. Like, that is a fetish. Asian part is always, it's so, like, skeezy. Like, that it's a fetish. Like, it shouldn't be a fetish. It's okay to be attracted to Asian girls and, You know, sometimes you're in the mood, you want to see an Asian girl. Because sometimes you also want to maybe see a Russian girl, a Hispanic girl. This is why there's all these categories on Pornhub. You know, it isn't only like white girls, black girls, Asian girls. You know, you get a whole mix of, well, here's some Italian girls. Here's some Russian girls. Here's some German girls. So it's okay to have a hankering for one type of specific woman at, like, a moment. But just kind of... I don't know, I guess it's kind of bad in any way, like... sexualizing based on nationality. But it's then, like, sometimes you're just in a mood for a certain type, and I think that's okay. It's when you consider it a fetish, that is just where it's, like, weird. Like, so, schoolgirl part, that's an okay fetish. Asian part, the Asian should be kind of more incidental than fetish. Just Velvet Elle's rules. That Asian schoolgirl fetish, the schoolgirl part is okay to be a fetish, the Asian part should be incidental. Just my rules. Normally I'll say, like, not my rules, just those are the way it is. No, those are my fucking rules. That is the way it should be. So anyways, a lot of stripping, and I'm just going to go ahead and assume these girls are over 18 and didn't get a fake ID, because they are very tatted up underneath their clothes. There's a lot of tattoos, so I'm going to assume, to me, that is proof that they're 18. And except for the girl that's not Hannah or Viv, because she never, like, takes her top off. That we see. You know, she strips down to her underwear, but we don't see tits. We see them from Hannah and Viv, so in my headcanon, they're 18, and the other girl, I'm just feeling skeezy for, because she's still sexualized and fetishized. But they do really good, and they get lots of money, so they go to the guy and, like, here's the money, so give us the weapons. Oh, and here's some extra money, because we need some training. And so we get a montage of them training, intercut with some more stripping. Training and stripping. That is the world's greatest montage, right? Girls training to kick ass while also stripping. You know what? Is this film going to be it? Where I get to see a topless woman kick someone in the face. That is what I want. I really, really, really want that. And I will be so fucking excited, and I will forgive the beginning of, like, all the sexual assault. Just so, you know, again, I'm all for exploitation films. We just didn't need to go that graphic and see that much of the sexual assault. So, I think the training's done, and the girls are stripping again. And this night, there's white schoolgirls as well. So that's good. I am all for schoolgirl fetish night, as long as the race of the girl is incidental. That's all I ask for. I ask for, you know, just some amount of decorum in my perversions. So, you know, so there's all the stripping, and then two of the rapists show up. Because, you know, they like this strip club. And Hannah sees them, and they're like, okay, let's get our plan in action. So a couple of the white girls lure the rapists. I'm not even going to bother to learn their names, because they're fucking rapists. And, I mean, most of the times I don't bother learning the names of characters anyhow. But, so the white girls lure the rapists back, and the waitress, she roofies their drinks. Because I'm sure, like, the Asian girls told the white girls about what happened, and they're like, okay, fuck this, these guys deserve whatever's coming to them. So they all work together to roofie the rapists, and they're just really like woozing out of it now, and Hannah goes to the bouncer like, yeah, you see those guys, they touched me. And that's the number one rule of strip clubs, is you do not touch the girls. I would think at this point in the history of strip clubs, we should know that you don't touch the girls. And granted, they didn't actually touch the girls. This is all set up. But I'm okay with it, because they're fucking rapists. So I'm okay with the setup of them getting set up for, like, oh, they touched the girls. And Bouncer's like, oh, well, fuck that. You're not allowed to touch the girls. He grabs them, he throws them out in the back alley, and, like, get the fuck out of here. Come back when you learn manners. Which, yes, I have respect for strip club bouncers, because they are protecting the strippers, which is very important. If only, like, we were in a society where women didn't need, like, bodyguards 24/7. That would be great. It would be great if we could all, like, learn to have enough manners that bouncers wouldn't really be needed at strip clubs, or at the very least, we wouldn't have to, like, delineate these lines, like, don't touch the strippers. That should just be something that's kind of just known. A girl is willing to show you her tits. And even though it's for money, she's showing you her tits. You respect that. I respect that. Like, you show me your tits, I am going to be nice to you. That's my rule of thumb in life. Show me your tits, I will be nice. I will be respectful. I will be nice and respectful even if you don't show me your tits. But I'm just saying that showing me your tits isn't going to make me lose respect for you and start being disrespectful. I guess that's where I'm going with this. Anyhow, the rapists are in the alley, and the girls are there, and they've gotten their clothes on, because they're outside, they gotta wear clothes. It's okay inside the strip club to be walking around topless. Can't do that outside. And they're like, yeah, remember us assholes? And they fucking kick the shit out of them. Which, again, I love watching rapists get their ass kicked. It's the little things in life that really bring me joy. And the one of them is rapists getting their asses kicked. Just my personal opinion. Just my personal preference. So they kick their ass and tie them up and take them to some nondescript basement. So the schoolgirls are holding the rapist hostage. And they're like, we want information. And, of course, one of the guys, the typical, like, well, you don't know who you're messing with. And Hannah's like, yeah, we don't know. That's what we want to know. Give us the fucking information. And she points a gun at the one guy. Because, of course, the guy says, like, we can't tell you. They'll kill us. Like, yeah, well, you don't tell us, we'll fucking kill you. And the other guy who doesn't have a gun to his head is like, they're bluffing. They're not going to kill us. And Viv is like, you're right. We're not going to kill you. We're going to fucking torture you. And she puts a knife to the rapist's dick and slices a bit. I don't know if she gets just the leg or gets part of the dick. Close enough. Close enough injury to the dick. And then she's threatening, like, but first I'm going to cut some fingers off. And he's like, okay, no, I'm a pussy. Being killed is one thing, but I don't want to feel pain in the meantime. And so, what happened? Sorry, I got distracted there by my fucking cats. They're always up to no good. So the guy's like, here's my phone, take it. I have all my contacts, everyone that I've dealt with and given girls to get raped. And, I'm so sorry. But then suddenly, bam! Hannah shot the other guy. And she kind of didn't mean to. It kind of just slipped, you know. It happens. Like, we remember that scene in Pulp Fiction where John Travolta's got the gun pointed and, oops! My finger slipped, blew that guy's brains out. That's kind of what happened, and they're like, oh shit. And then the other guy's trying to bite Viv because he's trying to take advantage of the distraction. So the other girl, I've been trying to listen, and I still have not heard her name, so I don't know. But she just takes the knife and just stabs that guy in the neck. And now we've got 2 dead rapists. So, what do we do now? That's always the question, isn't it? Like, when you get your first dead body, what do you do? So, other girl, she's like, you know what, I'm calling the cops. I'm calling a detective. This is, like, just beyond our, like, abilities at this point. This isn't what I signed up for. And then 2 other guys come in. Probably also part of the raping crew. And the girls are like, they're onto us. They see the dead bodies. They shoot one guy and break the other guy's neck. And that was actually pretty fucking awesome. Congrats, girls. You were trained well. Because even though this guy had significant weight advantage on you, you got your arm around him and snapped his neck. So, bravo. Some clapping. But they're still like, oh shit, you know, who were these guys? And then they find that there's a tracker on one of the dead rapists. And like, oh, yeah, so guys in charge probably couldn't find them any time. So they're probably going to send more guys. So let's get the fuck out of here with these guys' phones, because they'll give us the contacts. But, you know, I mean, the phones could probably be tracked too, so this isn't going to be like an easy job, girls. It's funny, I said that, you know, it's not going to be easy, and then I pressed play, and the song on the soundtrack starts off, it isn't easy. Synchronicity, maybe? I mean, I'm not saying the song was Synchronicity. Not the song by the Police. I'm just saying, like, that was just kind of funny that I said it isn't easy, and then the first thing I hear when I turn the movie back on is, it isn't easy. It's Kismet, right? You know what? I don't know what Kismet means. I will look that up one day. So the girls go home, and we get to see Hannah shower the blood off, because, you know, I mean, this is an exploitation film. You're gonna see someone shower the blood off. It's just an excuse to see her tits again. So I'm not complaining. I am not gonna complain about seeing her tits again. But the next day, they're like, the girls are like, should we continue on? Like, should we just give up at this point? Like, no, we're in too deep, and we gotta make these fuckers pay. So they all agree, like, we're gonna continue on. So we've got the phone, and, you know, there's contacts that don't really mean anything to us. Because how do we know anything? So Hannah's like, well, you know what? I'm just gonna start calling numbers until I recognize a voice. Which I guess is a plan. I wouldn't think it'd be the best plan, but it works because third number she reaches, she recognizes the voice. And even if she didn't recognize the voice, the fact that the guy who answered said, I told you never to call me on this number. Wait, what? He says, told you never call me on this number. I'm with my family. We only do at prearranged times. So, yeah, even if he isn't one of the rapists, there's some shady shit going on with that guy. So, it's a very good chance that you might want to look up this lead. Or maybe not, because it could get you killed. You don't know what this is leading you to. And meanwhile, the police detective, he's investigating, you know, the deaths of the rapists. He doesn't know they're rapists. He just knows there are two dead guys. I don't know why only the two What happened to the other dead guys? Because it seems like they only found the 2 guys that are still tied up. But there's 2 other people that got killed. So, shouldn't they also be investigating their deaths? And maybe they are, and that's going off screen. But when they were like dusting this scene and all that, the crime scene, I only saw the 2 guys that were tied up. And so he's asking around, and he goes to the strip club, like, do you know these guys? And the owner's like, yeah, they're regulars. And the night that you say they were killed, yeah, I remember they were in here, and then they got their asses kicked out for being inappropriate. And the detective's like, well, how inappropriate? Could the strippers they were inappropriate to be so mad that they killed them? Like, I don't know, but, you know, they just kind of left, didn't tell anyone, and no one's seen them since. And the detective's like, well, can you describe them? He's like, yeah, they're hot and Asian. Which I was almost going to laugh, because I was really hoping that just that description would lead the detective to think, oh, it was the schoolgirls who got raped. That would have been fucking hilarious. But no, he's doing his due diligence. He's like, Asian, so Chinese, Japanese, Korean. And of course the strip club owner's like, I don't know, they all look alike. They're Asian. So that isn't helpful. But, I mean, I guess it is a bit of a lead that 3 Asian strippers might be behind the killing of these 2 random guys that he doesn't know yet are rapists. If he did know they were rapists, then he probably would make the 2 and 2 connections like, oh, it must be the schoolgirls getting revenge for being raped. Okay, I finally got the other girl's name. It's May. So I feel good. I am better than that strip club owner because I can tell the 3 Asian schoolgirls apart. 4, because I also do know that that girl's name was Susie. So I think that's something to be proud of. Being less racist than a strip club owner. You gotta have life goals, am I right? So they reverse search the number of the guy and find his address. So they're waiting at his address, and he leaves his nice house. He kisses his daughter, like, goodbye. I don't know, where do you think Daddy's going? Oh, it's late at night. I gotta go do a business meeting at the hotel. And so the girls follow him, and they knock on the door, pretending to be, you know, some prostitutes they ordered. They were just kind of taking a guess that he had ordered some prostitutes. And they were right. Because, I mean, really, what else would he be at the hotel room for if it wasn't for some prostitutes? And he thinks, like, oh, you know, it's kind of weird, because it's usually, like, there's guys that come and escort you, and there's whole protocol, and you're not doing the protocol. Holy shit, I recognize you, girls. I raped you before. Yeah, did I mention it's definitely, like, it was the older guy in the rape scene. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that's something. Like, he's a rapist, but he can tell Asian women apart. So, not that I'm looking for a silver lining in this guy, so fuck him. But he recognized them, and he's like, oh shit, I'm in trouble. What is it gonna take to, you know, pay you girls off and leave me alone? And, you know, they're like, you know, pay us, like, oh, how much would it take for you to let someone ram their fist up your daughter's ass to the wrist? And brutal, direct, but good interrogation techniques. And he's like, don't talk about my daughter like that. She's innocent. So, you know, obviously, which the girls call him out on by saying, you know, your daughter's innocent. You're implying that the girls that do get raped kind of deserve it. And no. And so they take the wire, you know, You know the wire that you see in movies, like they wrap around the guy's neck and to kind of just strangle and cut his head off? They wrap one of those wires around his dick. And I'm like, oh yeah. And she's slowly tightening it to get like more information. And the guy's like, I don't really know. A lot of it's anonymous, and I don't really know how many. Like, I use this service like 7 times a year. And there's lots of people who use the service, but I don't know who runs it. Please don't cut my dick off. And I'm just like, cut his dick. Because I'm like, I don't even care if he gives them information. And if he does give them information, I hope they gets his dick cut off anyways. But then there's a knock. Like, whatever guys that he was supposed to meet, they don't have prostitutes with them. So were they supposed to bring the prostitutes? I don't know what the business plan was, but they knock on the door, and he tries to warn them not to come in, and the girls are like, okay, we're slicing your throat because you've been as useful as you can be to us. And the other guys come in, and they're big, burly, like kind of mafia guys, but they're no match for the Asian schoolgirls who got some really fucking good training. I cannot stress enough how impressed I am that these girls are just fucking kicking ass. And I don't care whether or not that's realistic. I'm all for seeing victims just kick ass like this. It's fantastic. And I think they kill these guys too. So since the room is now filled with dead bodies, the girls decide, yeah, we probably should get out of here before the police show up. And while they're in the car, they're discussing things like, it's over. I guess since, they've now killed everyone that raped them, even if they can't get, like, the head guy, they're kind of at a dead end. So it's just kind of the end now, and they don't feel fulfilled. They don't feel that, it's brought justice to Susie. So they don't know what to do. However, the detective, he's now on the crime scene, and he's looking things over, and luckily for him, bad timing for the guy whose job was to pick up the girls and get them roofied, he shows up at that moment, and he's like, no. I have no idea. I went into the wrong room. Sorry, not my... And they're like, yeah, the girls, fucking pumped full of chemicals. What's that about? Like, I don't know. They drink shit. I have no responsibility over it. And, oh, by the way, they're, 16. I don't know. I just assumed if they're in a bar that they're legal age. And the detective's trying to get the name out of him of who's the top head guy. And this guy says, I don't know who it is. And luckily I don't, because otherwise you would force me to tell you, and then that guy would kill me. So the girls are just going about their day at school, and one of them... I wasn't paying attention. It wasn't because I can't tell them apart. I just wasn't paying attention who went into the trunk. And they opened up the trunk, and oh no! There's a dead schoolgirl. Who I think was one of the fellow strippers at the club. Because it's like not the same schoolgirl uniform that the other girls are wearing. So I think it was definitely a stripper. Because it was red and black. And I think... there isn't really like a red and black schoolgirl outfit in real schools. I think that's just done for strippers. But, they're sad and they know, like, uh-oh. That means that the people at the top are onto them and they're going to come after them. But, you know what? They're in too deep. Shit's going on. Like, bring it on. They come after you. The girls are going to fight to the end. They're going to go down swinging. Down swinging. I just felt I should probably pronounce that better. Enunciate, as you will. And the detective, he's in the office with either his boss or his partner, and they're talking about the crimes. Like, we think the two crimes are related because the guys wore contacts in each other's phones, and both of them had their pecker, chopped to shreds. So, and we know that they're involved with the underage sex ring. So, the Asian girls were underage. Now we feel dirty again for seeing them strip. If we didn't actually see the boobs, then it still would be weird and creepy, but it wouldn't be so bad. And yes, I know I'm assuming the actresses are over 18, but they're playing 16-year-olds, and it's a weird gray area. If the character is 16, should we still be able to see the tits? Or is that just... I don't know, but... The detective, he's on the case. He's... sort of. Because he's like, could be someone involved, one of the girl's parents or friends or something. And, if we don't happen to catch them, they might, kill everyone involved in this underage prostitution ring. So yeah, I'm not gonna try that hard. His partner's like, oh, no, you gotta try. Don't let people hear this like you're a fucking cop. You gotta bring people to justice. Like, yeah, no, I'm gonna catch these guys. But if they happen to just kill more evil criminals, pedophile rapists, que sera, sera. Girls decide, the only way they can get to the top guy is to go back where it all started and go to the bar, because obviously the bar that lets underage girls just drink is where they're getting the girls for their underage sex ring. So they go and, they're trying to, they're figuring, they're not going to be recognized because the people that would recognize them because they raped them are all dead. So, fair plan. And, guy who works for the underage sex ring, he picks them up and he's like, yeah, let's go back to this place for a party. And they're like, yeah. And they get there and the girls just are like, yeah, oh, by the way, we know, we're on to you. And they start fighting and they get one of the guys and they have him, wrapped up with the wire. Meanwhile, the other guy, he pulls out a gun. And he's like, yeah, fuck you, bitches. And the girls are like, well, you put down the gun or we kill your friend. And the guy just is a total sociopath and walks up to his friend like, and shoots him. And he's like, yeah, if I shoot my friend, I'm going to have no qualms about shooting you girls. So, they got to do what he says, and they strip down to their underwear and are locked up in a cage. And then the head top guy comes down, and he rambles on about how, they're going to be stuck there for the rest of their lives, or at least until they can't make any more money for him, and then it'll be kaput. And over in Copland, the detective's boss comes by, and I'm not entirely sure, but I think he might also be the head guy of the sex ring. No, I don't think they are. I don't think they're the same person, but boss tells the detective, you're off the case. It's not a priority anymore. Not a priority? There's people out there, killing. Of course, they go and kill more of these underage. I think someone high up in the police office is connected to this underground sex ring, and that's why, they're taking him off the case, because they've caught the girls. Because while, the vigilantes were out there killing people, they needed to be caught. Now that they are caught, the cops are like, don't worry and don't look any further into this investigation. Because, we don't know what you're going to find, and we'd rather you didn't. Now, the guy that sold the weapons and trained the girls, he's getting worried because he hasn't heard from Viv in quite some time, and he calls Viv's brother. And Viv's brother is also worried because Viv has just disappeared for days, and they don't know where he is. And the guy's like, yeah, about this, you might get a little mad, but it is important you know this. I sold her and her friends some weapons. And the brother's like, whoa, what? Why the fuck would you do that? And I don't know. They didn't tell me why. I asked, and they said no. Which, you still could have said no to them, but, they did bring you fat stacks of cash, so I understand why you didn't say no. So, but they're going to get on the case. They're going to find Viv and her friends. They're not sure how, but apparently one of them accidentally left a matchbook from the strip club. So, to the strip club, and we'll hopefully find some clues. Meanwhile, over in the basement, the big bodyguard, who's supposed to be watching the girls, he's like, you, May, I want you to take off your panties and sit on my face. I understand you want to, get your jollies off, but having them sit on your face puts you at a disadvantage, really, because her weight is on your face, and, he's got his gun up pointed at her, but he's not going to be able to really see anything because she's on his face. Is the idea that eating her out is going to, distract her so much that she can't try to make a move for it? She tries to make a move for it. She grabs the gun, and one of the other guards comes running in, and May shoots him. But then, unfortunately, Sociopath comes. And, you could try, but even if you shoot Sociopath, chances are he's gonna shoot one of your friends. Because he's gonna be quicker on the trigger than you are. And so he takes May to another room and puts her on the operating table. Because he believes in good old-fashioned torture. And he asks her, May, what do you know about female circumcision? And I'm like, oh no. I just want dicks cut off. I don't want clitorises cut off. Is that the plural? Clitorises, or is it clitori? Good question. But luckily, Sociopath gets a call, and he's supposed to go meet someone somewhere. So the female circumcision is gonna have to wait a while. Hopefully waits for the entire rest of the movie, and I don't have to see a female circumcision. Please, please, please! Now, Hannah and Viv are worried, because they don't know what's going on with May. Is she being tortured? What kind of horrible things is she going through? So they do the only thing that two enclosed women who are worried about their friend can do. They fuck. And that is what I love about exploitation films. So we've got the rape revenge fantasy, but we're going to take a little detour for women in prison tropes of women are locked up, so they get it on. Oh yeah. But then finally, sometime after they're done, May is brought back and she tells the horrors and says, it might be best if we just kill ourselves here. And the girls, they think they're contemplating it. Maybe it's for the best. Meanwhile, the weapons dealer, he's going around town, greasing some palms, trying to get some information, uses some cocaine. Well, yeah. I mean, first he uses money to get some information out of the bouncer at the strip club, and he gets some names. Like, okay, this could be relevant, because they were the guys that just disappeared the last night that the girls were working at the strip club. And so then he goes, meets up with some other guy, and he's got a brick of cocaine. Like, this is on the house, buddy. You just gotta make some calls for me. And the guy's like, for free cocaine? Fuck yeah, I'll make any calls you need me to. And then over at the police station, the detective is just kind of at his desk doing some sort of work. And the boss comes in. Are you still working that case? I told you to get off the case. And the detective's like, I'm just doing my job. Which I don't know if he actually is doing the job. But they've probably, the police have gotten word that someone out there is asking some questions that they probably shouldn't be asking. So they think like, must be the detective doing this. Now, over at the cage dungeon, the girls are pacing nervously. What's going to happen to them? And Sociopath comes by and he's like, you got your first client. It's a whole gang. A lot of guys. Like, oh no. Like, but they're ready because they're going to try to fight their way out of it. But the guys, there's two guys in particular. The weapons dealer and Viv's brother. They use their connections. Well, the weapons dealer, because he sells drugs. And apparently sells drugs to some of the guys that do take part in the underage sex ring. Yeah, moral and ethics aside, he can deal with that later. We're just glad he did, because then he was able to find the girls, and he brought a bag of weapons so that they can fight their way out. Which makes me wonder what kind of shoddy operation this underage sex ring is. That you bring clients in, and you don't, pat them down first. They got a bag, you don't check. Like, do you at least ask? And you're like, a bunch of dildos. I can show you the dildos. And he's like, no, I'll take your word that they're dildos. They're definitely dildos and not weapons. So the girls fight their way out, kill a bunch of guys, and they escape. And then they're at the police station. And at some point, because they were in their underwear when they were in the cage. And then at some point they put on clothes. Not the clothes that they had earlier. Like new clothes. To fight their way out. And now they're at the police station in their school uniforms. So, is it that they went to school the next day and the police came and arrested them? And what evidence do they have to nail the girls on this anyhow? So it can't be that they just came out of nowhere and said, like, oh, we're arresting you because we figure you're, yeah, I was going to say cheaters. I don't think you can get arrested for cheating. But, unfortunately, detectives' hands are going to be tied. Like, you're murderers, we are going to have to put you away. And May's like, but I heard this one name, Banyan, and I think he's the head guy. And Detective's like, if you girls can help me get to the top guy and nail him, I will make sure that evidence disappears. Which is, crooked cops, but sometimes the crooked cops can work for the side of good. And so, detective tries to go on his computer to search the police database for Banyan, see if they have any information on a guy named Banyan, but he can't get in. He's locked out. Someone at the top doesn't want him getting too close. Luckily, Viv is a super hacker and hacks into the system. Oh yeah. They're gonna find the information they need. So they find Banyan's address, where he works. He's a big real estate mogul type. And the girls get wired up, so that if they get in trouble, the detective can come guns a-blazing and save them. Unfortunately, because the police system is on it, the top brass of the cops are in on it, and they know what's going on, so they jam his signal. So he can't hear when the girls are in trouble, because Banyan's like, yeah, I've got lots of bodyguards, and they're going to come kick your ass right now. But Asian schoolgirls were trained well, and they kick some ass. They kicked all the guys' ass, and then they killed Banyan by choking him out with the wire thing. At least I think they kill him. Kill him or knock him out. Whatever. Both works. So at this point, this movie's like running in triple speed. Like, I don't know why the fuck they're going so fucking fast. They're just burning through plot. I'm glad for it, because I want this movie to be over. But so they get rid of Banyan, and the police detective, he's like, shit, something's going wrong. And he goes and he runs in, and he sees his boss. He's like, oh, you're up to no good, and shoots him. And comes to save the girls, and the girls think, well, you're in on it, that's why you didn't come save us. And he's like, no, my signal got jammed. Think about it, if I was in on it, I would have killed you long ago. And they're like, yeah, that's true. And so, they're back to their high school life, and the detective tells them, when you graduate, if you need a job, you can always help me take down more criminal kingpins. The girls are like, yeah, we just may take you up on that offer. End movie. I don't know. First off, like, we went through so long of a sexual assault scene, which I could have forgiven if at least, like, the rest of the movie was going to be ultra bloody and ultra violent with lots of dicks getting cut off. And there were some dicks cut off. Could have been a lot more gory. Like, if it was just so super graphic, I could have forgiven this film. But, I don't know, the fight scenes just weren't that good. I wanted more, like, ass-kicking. And beyond ass-kicking, I wanted, like, these rapists to be, like, fucking cut up and just tortured beyond imagination. Like, fucking... That's what I gotta give the I Spit on Your Grave movies. They're awful movies, and their scenes of rape last way too long. But then they get super gory and gruesome, and the victim will just fucking, like, very creatively torture her attackers. And this film could have used some of that sort of huzzah. Yeah. And then just the plot just kind of went so slow, and then just kind of this movie was like slow in spots, and then in other spots it just kind of burned through the plot. And just, I don't know. What shall we say? Shall I check the hub of porn and see what their Asian Schoolgirls movie is? I think I will. I will check it out, and first, I'm sure I'm going to get lots of hits. I'll just watch the first one. Okay, this one looks like it's going to have a plot. And what's the point of reviewing a porn for a podcast if it doesn't have a plot? Because what am I going to do? Give you a blow-by-blow of the blow? I was not even expecting that. But anyhow, this is called Horny Asian Schoolgirl Does Not Want to Study, starring Alona Bloom. I don't know Alona Bloom, but I am not really that much up on, like, current porn stars. I'm very, like, old school. Not even old school, although I do like the old school of, like, you know, Annette Haven and Christy Canyon and Kay Parker. But also, like, the 90s era, which is when I came of age and watched a lot of porn. So, you've got like your Chasey Lane and Jenna Jameson and Sunset Thomas and Kirsty Way. There's a deep cut for you. Tina Tyler, another deep cut. Oh yeah, I mean, I can't do it now unless I really stop and like think about it and write it out. But I could give you a lot of fucking deep cuts from the 90s. But anyhow, horny Asian schoolgirl does not want to study. And the nice thing with like the titles on Pornhub is you generally know what you're getting. So this is going to be a story about a horny Asian schoolgirl that does not want to study. And so we start off, and we got this generic, like, sort of, like, Pixies. Like, it kind of sounds like Where Is My Mind? I was gonna play it for you guys, but I'm not going to, because... Should I? No, I'm not going to. Yes, I will. You guys can judge. Come on. Seriously, doesn't that sound like a generic reworking of Where Is My Mind? I think it does. But anyhow, so we got Alona Bloom. She's the Asian girl. More of Asian descent, I think, because she speaks perfect English better than me. No accent. Well, her boyfriend is like some sort of Eastern European, because he's got a fucking heavy accent. And he wants to study. She does not. She wants to get some boning action going on. And he's all like, not until marriage, because I don't do that until marriage. And she's like, but we kiss and hold hands in public. Which, that's some good logic there. If you kiss and hold hands in public, then why shouldn't you just fuck in the bedroom? Seems like the type of leap in logic that a man would make. So I'm guessing this probably was written by a man. But that's also sexist of me to assume that, maybe a woman would have like this horny leap in logic of, you hold my hand in public, you should be able to finger me in the bedroom. But respect his boundaries, lady. He's not ready for sex. There are some men like that. If you loved him, you would respect that. And he tries to tell her, like, I love you. And she's like, I don't know if you do love me if you won't, like, bone me. And he does love you. Like, if you loved him, you would respect that he doesn't want to bone yet. But so she promises, like, okay, we'll just go and study in my bedroom. She even pinky swears. But she's got her fingers crossed behind her back. Oh, no. She says she's just going to study, but she's going to try to bone him. So now he's trying to teach her about the Treaty of Paris or something. I don't know. I can't really, like, make out through his accent that well. But just... He mentioned Paris. And as far as the history that I know, the Treaty of Paris. So, yeah, I'm sure that's what... It doesn't matter, because she doesn't really want to listen to it. She doesn't want to study. She wants to play. And he's like, but you promised. And she's like, well, can I just see it? That's it. I swear, I won't do anything. I just want to see it. And by it, she means his cock. And he's like, okay, if you just see it, will you drop it? And she's like, I promise. Oh, by the way, it's very hot in here. Let me take my coat off. Or my jacket. She's not wearing a coat, she's wearing a jacket. Because that would just seem kind of silly. But, yeah. I do kind of like the whole role reversal this film is doing. Just turning, like, the stereotypes on its head. Like, the girl is the pushy one, and the guy wants to keep his, like, purity intact. But she's like, no. And she's just going to slowly push him more and more. Like, oh, I just want to see it, and it's too hot, so let me just, take my clothes off. But, he's like, okay, but you just see it, and then we get back to the studying. And so she pulls out his dick and is like, whoa, this is bigger than I thought it would be. Which at that point, shouldn't she be scared off and go running like, yip, 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 yip. This is a very big dick. I didn't expect this. But no, she's not deterred. And she asks, can I kiss it? And before he can even give an answer, she's already got her mouth on it. Which, jeez, girl, does consent mean nothing to you? Like, he says yes, but he has no choice at that point. Like, you've already kissed it. So, So he's like, okay. And she's like, can I put my mouth fully on it? And they're like, well, you're already doing it, so sure. She's like, doesn't that feel good? And like, yeah. At that point, he's just weak. What's he gonna do? You're already slobbing his knob. He's got no defense to fight back. Because you are a horrible woman. Yes, I'm gonna say that. Because, yeah, okay, it's the fantasy. Like, oh, yeah, she's just taking control of me. But even if you have, like, this control fantasy, there should be some consent to it, right? Like, if you're in BDSM, you're still, like, consenting to get your ass kicked. Well, BDSM is more nuanced than just getting your ass kicked. But my point is, couldn't she at least waited till he said yes before she started sucking his dick? That's all I'm saying. So I won't give you a blow-by-blow of the blowing. Yeah, that would just be boring. But anyhow, he gets into it, and he reciprocates, which is good, If she goes down on you, you should also go down on her. That is just basic, like, common courtesy. And then he asks her, can I stick it in you? And he waits for her to say yes before he does it. See, Alona Bloom? That is how consent works. He asked, and he waited for confirmation that he could do it before he did it. And then they fucked for like 20 minutes. And I gotta say, for someone who was like very prudish and wanting to wait and didn't want to do this, he gets into aggressive mode pretty quickly and easily. I mean, not like super aggressive slapping around, but he gets into the choking. He like chokes her during it, which I think like your first time, especially if you're like timid and not wanting to do it, I don't think you jump into choking your first time. Maybe some people do, but I would think those are the people that like were very assertive and aggressive about doing it in the first place. So, but they fuck, he comes, everyone's happy, and they make a plan to study again tomorrow. So, was this better than Asian Schoolgirls? It was shorter. I mean, horny Asian Schoolgirl doesn't want to study. At least knew its purpose, had its like mission statement, knew what it wanted to accomplish, and accomplished it. Whereas Asian Schoolgirls was kind of just all over the place and didn't fully live up to its potential. Because I was expecting a lot of violent castrating of rapists. Whereas with horny Asian Schoolgirl, all I expected was a horny Asian schoolgirl that did not want to study and wanted to bang instead. And I got that. So, I guess on that scale, horny Asian schoolgirl does not want to study, was a better film than Asian Schoolgirls. I don't know. Should I do more porn reviews on this? Velvet Owl watches porn so you don't have to. It feels like weird and creepy. But I got through it. I mean, is it any worse than like half the softcore movies I end up watching on these anyhow? No, it is not worse. So let me know what you think. velvetowl@hotmail.com. Eventually someone's going to email me. All I ever get is spam mail. Or you can leave a comment on the comment section, which occasionally people do, and it seems completely random, and that's why I don't read them on the air. Because it seems to have actually nothing to do, and I think those are just kind of spam as well. But, as always, I love you guys.